Good morning, I've just checked out of my accommodation there behind me in Puumala. Yesterday I drove the first section of Route 62 and today in this video I'm going to be driving the second section, which will take me from Puumala here to Mikkeli. It's about 72 kilometers, about 45 miles of scenic driving road, lots of forests, lots of lakes, and hopefully plenty of things to see along the way. So we're going to get on the road in just a second, but before we do that, I want to show you something that's just at the end of this street. The accommodation is just at the top of that little road next to that grey building, and I'm just going to run across the road here. There's a car coming. I just wanted to show you how close I actually am to another section of the Salpa Line, something that I've seen pretty much all through my journey here along my route so far. There's a sign here telling you a little bit about it, but take a look at this. You can see that it leads into a large concrete bunker, and we still have some of the weaponry under there as well. There's another view from the side. Whilst I'm here, I just wanted to show you the lake as well. It's a lovely little yellowy cabin here on my left with some kind of theatre set up, and you can see the water now. This is part of Lake Sawmill. It is that massive. I might have driven 100 kilometers yesterday, but I am still close to that same lake. Here we can see a little beach. And there we go, looking out towards the forests of Finland across the other side of the lake there. What a beautiful area. Just behind me there you can see the large bridge that I drove across yesterday in order to get here. But I'm going to head back to the hotel now where I've left my car. It's only about 2 minutes walk. And we're going to get on the road and start driving Route 62.
I haven't cut my hair since I walked through your door. It's never been quite this long before. Taking some time to get all settled in, and I'm the happiest I've ever.
Well, incredibly enough, the door at the rear of the windmill was actually unlocked. So I undid the chain and the bolt and came into the ground floor, and there's a little ladder where you can climb up to where I'm currently perched. The windmill was built in 1859 according to the sign outside, built by a local carpenter, and it was originally positioned on the south of the Puumala Peninsula. It was moved north a little bit later on, I guess, to preserve it. But it's fantastic being able to actually poke my head up onto the first floor and see the mechanism that drives the windmill. It is made solely of wood, and so definitely something worth preserving for years to come.
We lose our way, but always lean back in, and I'm the happiest I've ever been.
I'm out of the car again, and this time I am on the wooden boardwalks close to another lake. I am in a community of sawmills called the Sahanlahti. This community goes back all the way to the 1740s when the area was filled up with various sawmills. Workers would come down here and work 10-hour days. It would take about 4 hours to actually saw a log. And once that was complete, it would be placed into a log flume that is still here next to the rapids, and the log flume would transport the log all the way down to the water's edge, where I guess it would be loaded then onto a boat and shipped out to wherever it was destined for. Unfortunately, the trade ceased in the 1920s. In 1936, the last sawmill was pulled down. These days, the area is a resort, but the historical significance of the site has not been forgotten, and there is still lots of signs and information boards. Even the resort buildings have elected to name their rooms after the former workers of the sawmill. I think next time I stay in Finland, I have found a cabin for me to stay in. There we go, that one right there. I'm on top of a kind of a mound at the moment, right next to it. Here we go, looks like the main entrance, the Villa Kammer. But as I come round, you'll see what I mean. This is the front balcony. Here we've got a soft seating area under the porch. We've got a barbecue, a lovely bench to sit at and enjoy a few drinks. A hot tub, also a lovely place to be and enjoy a few drinks. A jetty that belongs to this cabin, goes all the way out there. There's steps at the end so you can jump in the water and then get out pretty quickly if it's as cold as it is today. Also comes with a beach and a fire pit down there, I think it is. What a beautiful area. And I'll come back up here, there's a heating system there, look. But yeah, just imagine breakfast out here on that table overlooking the lake. And don't forget to stop by the museum if you're passing by, where they tell the story of the workers and show you what it used to be like working the mills back in the 18 and 1900s. Luckily, right at the start of the trip, I went into a local supermarket and bought some food items because I knew I'd be travelling through remote areas and there possibly wouldn't be any shops or anywhere to buy bits and pieces from. So luckily today is one of those days. Luckily I've got my rolls and crisps. In fact, I'll show you what I bought. Oh, I've got some white rolls, hot dog rolls, soft rolls, very, very nice. I like them a lot. I've got some Fanta, we have some crisps, we have some nectarines as well. I thought that would be good for me to have 1 or 2 of those a day. We've also got some frosty bars that I brought from the UK, and somewhere in my case I've got a few chocolate bars as well that I bought from the UK. So I am definitely well prepared for the isolation, and it is definitely good not to be hungry or thirsty. Welcome to Finnish Lakeland, Europe's largest lake district, and I guess what you're seeing behind me is the average scene. It is an absolutely spectacular place to visit. You can see Lake Sawmill. We first saw this lake about 100 kilometers south a few videos ago, but this is part of the largest lake in Finland. So it stretches way down south and also way up north. So no doubt we'll see it again in future videos. The whole of Finland has over 180,000 lakes. If you're measuring a lake by it being a body of water 200 meters wide or more, and the lake district here in the east of Finland and part of central Finland as well contains over 50,000 of those lakes. And as I said, this is kind of what you would come to expect. These beautiful bodies of water and just so many things to come and look at and enjoy. Hiking trails, walking routes. There's plenty of beaches as well, and you can see the one I'm currently walking on, the golden colour of the sand there below me. There's also, out in the lakes, over 10,000 islands in this area.
It's far too many of us here, a crowded planet full of fear. It's not the way it's meant to be. We should be happy living free. Although I'm running up a hill, I feel I'm always standing still. Can't remember where I've been. I don't know where I should begin.
Well, I just got quite a surprise because I put my hand in the water to see how cold the temperature of the water was, and amazingly enough, let me do it again, amazingly enough, the water temperature is actually quite warm. I would be quite happy to swim in that. no problem at all. In fact, it is warmer in that water than the air temperature outside of it. And one other thing that I might need your help with if you're watching the video is I keep seeing animal tracks here in the sand, and I'm not sure if it is just someone walking their dog or perhaps some of the local wildlife. I mean, there are bears in this area. We'll talk more about bears in a future video, but for now I am just going to enjoy the solace of this beach area, and then I'm going to head towards the car and drive the most famous section of Route 62. Well, you can't do a road trip without a car, and when you're traveling abroad you often have to hire one. For this trip I used a company called rentalcars.com, and I went for a company called Thrifty, which is serviced by Hertz. So essentially I've hired a car through Hertz, and if I turn around you can see just behind me there is the rental car. It has cost me £220, which is about 260, 270 euros, and I've got it from the Monday night all the way through to the following Monday night, so in total 8 days. Nothing coming that way, nothing coming that way, so let's head over and have a look at the car itself, parked up on the side of the road here by the lakes. It is about 6 months old, 10,000 kilometers on the clock. Only has a very small piece of damage that was there when I picked it up. Nothing to do with me, just a minor scratch on one of the doors. It is a Dacia Sandero. There we go, all good. So it has a €900 excess for theft and damage, but I mitigate that with my own excess insurance. I'll link to another video to give you a bit more information on that where I explain it in a bit more detail. But I'm inside the car of course now, and one thing that I do love, it has Apple Play, so you can basically dial in, for example, a destination you want on Google Maps, which I've saved, and it transfers automatically up to the main screen. It's all touch screen, it's got all the apps on it. It's got a charging port here, a charging port there, and also a cigarette lighter, which I've got my drone battery plugged into at the moment, courtesy of this device here that I bought from, I think it was eBay a few weeks back. It has got cruise control, speed limiter, and all the gizmos you could want, unleaded fuel, and I've got to say it has served me very well so far. I have no idea where I currently am. I just followed this unpaved, very narrow gravel track, and I've got the rental car down to this section, and it looked like there were two options for continuing, either down there, which I really didn't fancy, or down here, which is a little bit better but still not great for a car. So I'm going to leave the car parked where I've left it right there. That's the track that I've just come down. I'm in the middle of nowhere again, there's no signposts. I was trying to find something called the Scarps, which I think is a collection of rock face just out near the lake somewhere. I'm pretty close to the lake anyway, so what I figured I'd do is take a bit of a stroll down this pathway here, and we'll see what is at the end of it. As you're driving Route 62, which is already a fairly quiet, remote road, there are just these countless tracks and trails that branch off from either side of it, and you really do wonder where they go. I mean, I'm suspecting that some of them will go to cabins in the woods and private property, but others probably come to areas like this. And as said, I think I've made the right decision by leaving the rental car way back up there, because ahead of me now we've got some boulders on my left, and this is definitely not a road. This is, in fact, this might not even be a pathway if I come a little bit further down here. The trail has kind of almost disappeared now, and I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to turn back or bushwhack it for a bit. But I have seen, I think over there, what looks like a bench. So I'm going to bushwhack it through a little bit and just see if I can get to that bench and then turn around if there's nothing there. What I definitely don't want to do is lose the pathway heading back, because then I could be in some serious bother. Ah, look, it's not a bench. Someone has been down here, no doubt, camping, and there is a picnic table, and there we go, fire pit with some chairs around it. Looks abandoned. I don't think anybody is here, so let's just have a quick glimpse of, well, this is a bit strange. Some bric-a-brac in there, some firewood. But let's have a quick look over the other side of the lake. The Lake District is gigantic, and 25% of the lakeland here in Finland are lakes. We're on our way back up the hill. Hopefully the rental car will still be in one piece, and we'll see if we can get back to that main road.
In the town on the hill where the apples grow, the church bells ring every hour or so. I took a little walk just to see the ships coming in. The sun rose up right above the highway. Black, blue, red, yellow, golden skyway. It's like the day that you jump into the wind. I can't go back down to that water again. These old muddy shoes keep on walking streets. Someone's bride buying Egyptian sheets. The window display of some little store in town. And there's my reflection against the morning light. Hello, Mr. Ghost, Mr. Skeleton White. You better comb your hair, you better wipe that George clay off your brow. You better stand up straight, man, these people hardly recognize you now. Lord, carry me like a sailing ship, comfort me.
What a drive, all the way from Puumala, which I left at about 10 o'clock this morning. It's now 7 p.m, 7:30 p.m, and I've arrived in Mikkeli, population of about 40,000 people. Behind me is the main church of the city. It was built in the late 1800s. It stands at over 60 feet tall, and it definitely dominates the city's skyline. There is an observation tower here as well, but I think the church is even higher than that. I am feeling pretty hungry, so I'm going to hopefully get something to eat, but also take a quick walk around the city centre. And I think my next port of call, what I'm looking for, is going to be the main city square. Made it to the city square, and it is a very new looking city square surrounded by pretty new concrete and brick buildings, and that's mainly because in the Second World War Mikkeli was the headquarters of the Finnish military, and of course they had some big campaigns against the Russians and the Soviets in the Winter War and the Continuation War, and therefore the city of Mikkeli was bombed heavily, and a lot of the buildings in this area were completely destroyed. The good news is the city is once again thriving, even though tonight is a little bit quiet and there's not really much going on. It has been a spectacular day driving Route 62. Thanks for coming along with me. My day, unfortunately, is not over yet. I've got a 1 hour drive now to my next destination and the place that I'll be featuring in next week's video. So if you want to find out where that is, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you there.